And now, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda commences tonight's Satsang with the Sanskrit peace chant.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We begin with Mystic Song by Sri Swami Lalitananda, played and sung by Sri Swami Umananda and Rajneesh.
Our song tonight is based on a poem by Swamiji. It's called Somewhere. Someone plays the flute and sings a mystic song that comes sweeping over the mountains, by lakes and forests, dancing on ocean waves, playing with shining stars. Somewhere, someone beyond the wheel of time is singing a sweet song, and in the early dawn, as I listen, I become one with the song. The world fades like the morning mist. I have become. I am We are recording from the ashram of our revered Guru, Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda in Miami, Florida. Today is May the 26th, 2020, Tuesday evening, and tonight Swamiji will be lecturing on the Yoga Vasistha. This is series 2018, class number 241. And now Pujya Atman Sri Swami Jyotirmayananda.
Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Om. Adoration to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Yoga Vasistha, Yurupasham Prakarana, section 80. Insight into the practice of art of enquiry. That's what is the main topic. And Sage Vasistha continues to give this, imparting this wisdom to Rama. It is important to understand the setting for creating a setting of your body and mind to focus on vichar. Confusion arises in the minds of aspirants that if I am practicing bhakti, then no vichar. If I am seated in meditation, there is no vichar. But all this confusion should not be there. You begin your sadhana, your meditation, with whichever way you are accustomed to, with japa, meditating upon your deity, praying, surrendering, whatever you do. But as the mind begins to settle, bring to your mind the Upanishadic and Yoga Vasistha insight. And now it will allow your understanding, your mind in that sattva level, to go deep into the understanding of the statement that your mind has gathered. Your mind has gathered Aham Brahmas. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I am Satchidananda. All this I'm giving, and then this theme will be elaborated. So, and if your vichar fades and you get back to your mantra or do anything, don't be upset. Everything must be done in a sahaj way. So this point is important to understand. It is indeed amazing to realize that this world is overpowered by the chitta. The profound focus of your understanding is what is truth. And in order to open the window to that understanding, gaining a great insight into the world you are experiencing, firstly, all your experiences of the world are based on chitta vrittis, thought waves of your mind. Secondly, how you are facing the world, living your life, depends upon the states of your chitta. If your mind is relaxed, the world you are viewing is giving you comfortable or some inspiring touch to your mind. If your mind is not relaxed, then you yourself are looking for troubles. So find in the TV program where is terrifying topics. Go into wilderness. What the wild tigers do. and see them running after deer and capturing them. I'm joking, but it's not really a joke. It's a reality. So what is happening? Your mind, your chitta-based understanding is regulating the world you experience. And that world is not so steady. In the morning you started, your mind was relaxed, everything was wonderful. But within few hours, you heard some neighbor complaining against you. Now your mind has opened up the door to all the complaints you have been receiving from your childhood. And now that terrible world. So who made the world that was so wonderful into such a terrible situation? Your own chitta. So don't be deluded by your chitta. That's the higher level of message being given. How to stay with your chitta, utilize your chitta in a positive way, not let your chitta drown you into mud. But understand the chitta that does both, drowning you into mud, an allegorical word of getting more in mesh, more involved in negative karmas, or allow the chitta guided by Upanishadic knowledge, sadhana, to open the door to deeper understanding of the real I am is not the ego. And so with ego-based mind, your goal is not achieved, because any goal that ego wants to achieve is fictitious, because ego itself is not real. In your dream ego wants to be a millionaire and goes into a lottery and wins it. So in dream. But the fact is, he who is winning it, he's not real. So therefore, allowing that type of mental set that does not highlight or go up after ego as one's identity. Ego is not your real identity. At the same time, without ego you cannot exist. So therefore understand your ego has 3 stages: tamasic, rajasic, sattvic. The sattvic ego becomes transparent. Therefore it gives you both choices. Depend on your ego, at the same time go beyond your ego. Depend upon a transparent stick. It has all the strength to make you supportive. But at the same time it is not obstructing your vision. And you are seeing beyond. So that type of ego is sattvic ego, which ultimately, even that ego, along with the entire chitta, dissolves. But it has 2 stages. First, bringing that state of sattva in your ego in such a way that along with your whole mental function, your deeper insight and understanding and realization that I am Brahman. I am not any of the content of the chitta. Chitta places the whole universe before you. And you can't be located in that universe anywhere. Because whatever chitta has done, all is momentary. To you it may be millions and trillions of years, but the allegorical term is momentary. Means even in a moment, if your mind moves to enlightenment, as I have already explained, the world you are experiencing with a little change of angle, half an hour before the world you experienced, half an hour later, the whole world has changed. So, keeping that in view, we use the word momentary. Nothing is permanent here. So that's not, if you want permanency, then you have to follow this whole process of which are leading to self-realization. It is indeed amazing to realize that this world is overpowered by the chitta, which can be rendered void in a moment by the force of wisdom. Seems very profound, but you have to also understand very simple illustration. When you go to sleep, prior to your sleep state, you are crowded with the world. And if mathematically you want to move the world away, you will never sleep. But then there comes a state within your own nature that the entire world just vanishes as if it never existed. In deep sleep, you are totally different, untouched by the entire world. That real you, that potential you that was relaxed in your deep sleep, the same you exists no matter how you are facing your life in whatever challenging situations. O Chitta, you assert your power over the dead. Just understand the power of Chitta. Chitta creates, Chitta is the basis of bondage and release, bandha mokshayo. But Chitta does not have its own power to keep you in bondage or in release, because Chitta in itself is not reality. Is an appearance. Chit, pure consciousness, is the reality, pure awareness. So now, to follow the path of enlightenment, that's your big project. Not to direct your mind about the illusion of this object, the illusion of that object, but the illusion of very Chitta. And understand how all that you are experiencing is led by your Chitta. And come to a very simple way to understand, all that you are experiencing is a marvel of your brain and nervous system. A little change in your brain and your experience changes immediately. So the entire world you are experiencing is like experiences through an iPad. Be entertained by your iPad, there's nothing bad about it. But become stuck to the iPad, that's bad. First, to understand, your iPad can change. You can bring in most inspiring insights in all levels, in bhakti, in karma, in jnana. You can bring all scriptural knowledge in your iPad and thereby become deeply inspired to go beyond the iPad. No needing the brain. No need for the chitta that creates the brain. So chitta's power is over a creation. Chitta has created the whole thing. But whatever chitta has created is illusion. Whatever lies before your eyes are lies. So, highlighting the lies, where lies the heroism about it? I would really consider you heroic if you dare to exercise your power over me, who am the self. Now you are challenging the chitta. So chitta has the power over all the world you are experiencing. But all this power and all that chitta's projections can do, self in you is like the screen. Projections cannot affect the screen. And you are screen-like, pure consciousness. Oh, ignorant chitta, I don't have to destroy you because you are already dead. You don't exist. When you become tired with your ugly dream, the mind says how to get out of it. In your dream, you are struggling how to get out of it. But the same mind that created your dream suddenly leads you to be awakened. In brief, you do not have to see the world you are experiencing to be destroyed. The world would have never existed. Mirage doesn't have to be destroyed. The very fact that I know your non-existence is enough to destroy. So the very fact, I am not the chitta. I am not anything that chitta projects. I am, that am I. That type of vichar. By the very force of vichar, vichar is spiritual enquiry, worry has been exterminated. The worries are like worms, viruses. and vichar is the remedy. You must realize this is a very advanced state of teaching. But it is important to let your mind have a little glimpse of the goal. And the more you allow the mind to glimpse, to enter into the study of Sthitipragya Lakshanas, what are the characteristics of one who is enlightened? The more you gain that insight, greater is your study of the Gita. The more you begin to have your focus, just like a old style journey, the more you know where the pole star is, greater is your safe journey. By the force of vichar, you do not hold in your heart the sense that all the pain you are experiencing in the world is a reality. And somewhere in future, someone will come and will take the pain away. You do not hold that type of illusion. Pain is not a reality. Grief is not a reality. It is sustained by your conditioned mind, sustained by your iPad. By the very force of vichar, worry has been exterminated. Mind has been rendered dead. Mano nash. Mind operates, but it doesn't create attachment or hatred. And ego sense has been destroyed. Ego has melted away in the spirit of surrender. Now freed of all duality and disharmony, I exist as a non-dual self. So, this point has to settle in your mind, and that settling process is not a simple process. That's your whole lifelong project. You are facing a world, and world goes on agitating you, and everything seems to be confined to the world. But no matter how you are entangled in the world, how you are dependent, the real you remains completely untouched. For easy understanding, always understand how dream takes you into turmoil. But no matter how much you are in turmoil, you are perfectly comfortable, cozy on your bed. So turn your attention to that cozy reality. And that's what we mean by turning your mind to God, turning your mind to the realization, I am Brahman. Now therefore this enquiry starts. What is my mind? Use the same mind to understand its foxy nature. What is my desire? What is my ego? Fortunately, these illusions have been dispelled from me. Now the vichar has moved to higher level, and this type of affirmation, the Sanskrit was nishchaya. Now your understanding is making a secure insight, not a shaky insight. Holding on to the glimpse of truth. And that's the project in vichar. And here's the illustration. I alone am, as if an inner voice is speaking out with a big conch, loudspeaker. Turning away from all the mess and the noise and terror and virus. I am, I alone am. I am the one. First point, you are not, nobody is going to terrorize you. You are the only one. Next, indestructible. You shouldn't ask, how long will I be only one? Eternal. And then you can say, well, but when will I be happy? Ever blissful. So start packing up these attributes, one after another. They are not different things. I'm using allegorical language. The same truth, I alone am, is now allowed to be seen in different angles so that the profound insight, I am, begins to saturate your whole mind. I have neither grief nor delusion. I am distinct from the ego, mind and senses. I am the self, sustaining all names and forms. All things you are now imagining, and some people are your enemies, some are your friends, some are terrifying situations, some are justifying situations. But behind all that, I am the reality behind all those experiences. Just like in your dream, behind all the dream experiences, the dream roach, the dream elephant, the dream mountain, the dream sky, behind all that, I am. So that type of internal vision is being secured, not just imagined. That's called nishchaya, by clear understanding. Using your reason in a profound way. I am one, indestructible, eternal, blissful, pure consciousness. Then what happens to your adorations? to different deities and God. Adorations to me. All gods and deities have all shrunk into I am, the absolute I am. That's the goal of all worship, all sadhana. I have neither grief nor delusion. I am distinct from the ego, mind and senses. Because all grief, delusion and countless illusory perceptions, imaginations, all that arise on the basis of ego, mind and senses. And you are none of these. I am the self, sustaining all names and forms. I am one without a second. Adorations to me. I am the source of all the worlds. You go into study of science, physics, and think of countless worlds, and we're so surprised that there are worlds from which don't exist, stars that don't exist, and still their light comes to your eyes, and you become thrilled. But here's the bigger news. The entire world that is coming to your mind and opening the door to all these boundless studies, millions and trillions of miles and many things involved. All that is sustained by your chitta. And chitta, being illusory, the reality that holds the chitta is I am. In other words, put your mind to a kind of turmoil. What Vedantic truth I am is, in normal language, whatever you think and imagine. If you think a pole star, that's you are. If you think of a star millions of light years away, you are. Think of Mars, you don't have to create all the big excursion to go to the Mars. You are. I'm the source of all the worlds you know and worlds that you don't know. I am the reality, unaffected by the three periods of time. I am the eternal. So when you say eternal, it should not be just one word that simply passes into your mind and goes, flies away. But understand that all the world that keeps you wandering and makes you repeat your identity again and again by this cycle of birth and death. All this I am not. I'm talking from ego point of view. From the self point of view, all this is nothing but the self. And that gives you a simple, profounder understanding of what we mean by eternal. Eternal has a big stomach, and it grabs all. Imperishable, another synonym. I am. All this world is perishable. How perishable? It's momentary. But I am absolutely imperishable. All the clouds, etc., that come in the sky are perishable. The sky remains untouched. It's just a simile. I'm all-pervading self. The reality behind all names and forms. Adorations to me. All adorations are being directed to Brahman. That's the real insight into religion. And that Brahman is the reality behind all. So the I am, the real I am is Brahman. And therefore, all adorations are directed to that Brahman. The mountains, the oceans, the earth, and the rivers are nothing but myself. Or being illusory, all these are non-existent. I alone exist in my own glory. Two-aspected way, which are, I am all this. Everything that you see in your dream, you are. First stage of understanding. The dream world now becomes a fun. Next stage of understanding, the entire dream doesn't exist. One way or the other, we are not losing yourself. You are when the dream goes on. You are when the dream is not. You are the untouched reality. I am beyond the reach of the mind and senses. And that's why through meditation and samadhi, where mind and senses begin to move away, that leads you to the ultimate level of reality. I am the ocean of bliss. When you are in deep sleep, you do not have that type of mind that my sleep is not giving me as much happiness as his sleep. I'm talking about deep sleep. There's no comparison. And nothing in the world could have given you that much of relaxation, which you enjoy spontaneously. But that's a revelation of truth. I am unborn, immortal, attributeless divinity, adorations to me. Coming to next section, section 61, section 81, negation of the chitta. This vichar is now moving on to the entire chitta process, a deep insight that the entire chitta process is a mirage, a kind of maya. When that becomes settled deep, then you are free of the cycle of birth and death. If it is not settled, then you are coming back in the world projected by your chitta. O Rama, chitta which enables a person to discover the reality of the self and the unreality of the world process should be inquired into and discovered to be non-existent in the light of intuitive vision. That's the whole project of same chitta that you are using to keep yourself bonded in the world. Now, your buddhi, your intellect has become purified through sadhana, through guidance. And using the intellect, first type of intellect, worldly intellect, keeping you in bondage. Purified intellect, now using the same chitta in a way that it allows your integral yoga to succeed. Changing the vasana stage of the chitta, samskara stage of the chitta, making big changes in your chitta, until the entire chitta dissolves. Whence has this chitta arisen? Like a tree in the sky, or like the motion of objects perceived from a racing vehicle. As you speed your car, you see the trees, etc., all running away, as it were. But that type of perception is illusion. And all that's the same thing, implying that all you watch the cinema show, it seems all real. But you don't realize form after form is being projected moment after moment. And your mind being conditioned, deluded, you are unable to see the reality, the type of reality that continuity of form brings. It brings stories and wonderful sentiments are awakened by them. But the cinema show is unreal. Though non-existent, how has it led the soul to the state of bondage? The whole process of being led to bondage, from advanced point of view, is in the realm of unreality. And how does it lead the soul to liberation? All this is indeed baffling to the limited intellect of a person. A wise sage should thus assert, all my doubts are gone. I am free from the fever of grief. I abide in my essential nature. With the cessation of the chitta, all cravings have fled. This type of affirmation, nishchaya. When you heard all this and your mind is said, yes, it's wonderful, this is real. But now therefore, since Brahman, I am Brahman is real, allow your mind now also to work upon, therefore, all your doubts, they are unreal. The more understanding of I am Brahman, greater is the removal or disappearance of your doubts. Your mind holds calmness, security. At deeper level, here also you have to understand. No matter how advanced you are, sages included, external world is faced by your practical mind. The practical mind does not imply, if a sage doesn't remember a particular statement, that doesn't mean that he has really lost the memory of scriptures. So that type of difference must be understood. Practical world doesn't give you the vision of perfection. But the perfection is secure internally. I am free from the fever of grief. I abide in my essential nature. With the cessation of the chitta, all cravings have fled. There's always craving, always expecting, desiring. Things are never perfect. No matter how prosperous you are, how rich you are, how happy you are, you're waiting for the next day, planning for your future. And in that process, you continue to age, but your craving becomes youthens and dances. The chitta is dead. The cravings have disappeared. Delusion has dwindled. The self has been awakened from the sleep of ignorance. I have realized the self. These quotations, study them and try to remember imprint it in your deeper level of mind. When you are meditating and your mind becomes relaxed, sattvic, bring those topics with a singing tune. And as if you are enjoying, experiencing what the statement says. Even from a very practical point of view, people read inspiring statements. They read so fast, they don't have time even to relish what they have read. But here you have all the time to relish. That's called nididhyasana, the profound involvement in enquiry. With the perception of the falsity of the chitta, this world has become nothing but Brahman. All dualities have melted in Brahman. What else is there for me to think of? What is there for me to desire? Very simple illustration. When you have enjoyed a wonderful deep sleep, first, the moment you wake up, mind looks for what is there to desire? What should I think of? Where am I? But this is an illustration. I am ever established in the homogeneity of the self. I am ever balanced and harmonized. It doesn't matter to me whether the chitta stays or flees, whether it exists or becomes non-existent. And with this, I'm going to conclude. And we conclude with prayer. Prayer for the Karunamaya Ras of divine grace, shower over all. And let this insight enter into your soul to discover who am I, and move away this illusory iPad. But all this is the goal of life. The moment you straighten your vision, what the goal is, you are living your life with purpose. And rendering the life purposeful, that's a great remedy for all miseries of the world. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukma Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Please raise your hand if you have a question for Swamiji. Sri Ram, speak like a lion.
Pranam Gurudev. Gurudev, you mentioned earlier that when you were talking to the chitta, you're dead, you don't exist. So when during the meditation practice, the thoughts crowd, is the approach to try to analyze them, to get rid of them, or just to walk away from them and call them that you don't exist, and go back to your, whatever the practice was, vichar or japa or whatever?
This latter aspect is your greater skill. If you find a whole hall full of crowded people, creating a lot of noise for you, you don't have to go inside and ask, why are you making all the noise? Simply move away from it. Okay.
Yeah, one more question. You mentioned that eternity has a big stomach. It includes the time-space causation. So it's how? What does that mean?
What I was leading to, that big words like eternity, immortality, bliss, people go on bringing them in their mind like ordinary little items. In deep meditation, try to understand its deeper meaning, what it really means. What it means to discover you are immortal. Even ordinary wealth makes you quite exhilarated. What does it mean to win a lottery? What does it mean that you have gained a good capital gain? Two ways of listening. Somebody else says, I have one. Then that doesn't. But when you hear you have one, the same word one now has a deeper meaning for you. In other words, allow your mind to understand. We say the whole worldly pleasures is alpam, little. Divine bliss is bhuma. Allow your mind now to work upon what does it mean? What is the difference between little and the infinite? But not with a struggle. Here the mind is being led by a spontaneity, only by a whisper. And the movement is just like eating good food. You are being led with your taste. So how do your teeth move and your tongue moves? All goes into a melody. So vichar must create a kind of allegorical setting of enjoying prasad, enjoying nectar. And these are drops of nectar, different great words. God, boundless compassion. God is reality. God loves you. You are Satchidananda. All these words, each you can select some of them and allow your mind to work upon them. And that becomes a whole a spiritual experience of a fulfilling experience. Okay?
And just a small prasad of Swamiji's words to conclude. It's a sweet challenge. Every day you have a choice. You can either keep ducking into the stream of ignorance and move from illusion to illusion, or you can enter the stream of knowledge and recapture your essential identity as the divine self. One who makes the right choice emerges victorious and attains the goal of life, self-realization. We conclude.